The movie centers on a kid called Li Fong, a kung fu prodigy who leaves the dojo, much to Mr. Han's disappointment, to move over to New York City with his mum. It's your typical fish-out-of-water story, complete with some childhood trauma, a death in the family, and an estranged relationship with Li Fong's mum. It's your textbook hero origin story, and from here, Li Fong befriends a girl called Mia, while also working through his own demons regarding his brother. It doesn't take long for Li Fong to get bullied at school by the local asshole Connor. This guy is karate whiz and been trained to fight ferociously, something that's at odds with Li Fong's philosophy, where he's not fighting anymore due to that aforementioned tragedy in his past. What happened to Li Fong's brother? In the past, Li Fong and his brother were attacked in the street after a big tournament in Beijing. Li Fong's brother won, but the guy he beat wanted revenge, and with a couple of guys sporting knives, they cornered them and beat the pair up. Unfortunately, Li Fong's brother was stabbed and subsequently died after being rushed to hospital, right as he called out for Li Fong to help. Li Fong froze, unsure what to do, and as a result, he's been blaming himself ever since. However, he's convinced that he needs to deal with this before it deals with him. Does Victor win his boxing match? After training him for the first half of the movie, Victor steps into the ring and hopes to square his debt. Unfortunately, Victor gets knocked out and winds up bleeding from his head. Li Fong is frozen in spot, just like he was before, and winds up experiencing flashes to the past. Mia races into the ring to tend to Victor, who's knocked out and rushed to the emergency ward. This obviously mirrors Li Fong's experience with his brother, and it brings up the demons of his past with more clarity. Thankfully, Victor is okay and still alive. He speaks to Li Fong plainly and admits that he doesn't blame him for what's happened. Who helps train Li Fong? Mr. Han brings in Daniel LaRusso in to help train Li Fong ready for the 5 boroughs to take out Connor. They train up on the rooftop, and LaRusso helps give Li Fong some tips to hone his skills. Within the tournament, each match sees competitors need to achieve 8 points or to KO their opponent to come out on top. Body shots count for 1 point. A headshot is 2. The winner of this tournament walks away with $50,000. Li Fong makes it to the finals and inevitably squares off against Connor. How does Li Fong intend to beat Connor? Li Fong gets some tips from LaRusso and Mr. Han, encouraging him to help hone his brother's move, the dragon kick. He earlier tried to use this on Connor at the school, but it did not go to plan. Instead, they intend to use this as a way of baiting Connor into countering. When he does, Li Fong will use this as a feint and strike. The big fight eventually goes ahead, and it doesn't look good for Li Fong. He immediately goes down 4-0, but he fights back to square the tie. As the fight continues, Connor knocks Li Fong down, but he manages to pull himself back into contention once again. With everything tied up at 7-7, Li Fong comes out on top thanks to the dragon kick bait and switch, winning the tournament. When Connor tries to cheap shot him though, Li Fong knocks Connor down, but he doesn't hit him. Instead, he slams his fist next to his head and then pulls his opponent up, bowing in respect. How does Karate Kid Legends end with Li Fong coming out victorious? We cut forward in time to catch up with our characters. There's now a stuffed crust pizza being served over at Victor's Pizzeria, an ongoing joke throughout the movie, of course. Mr. Han is heading back to Beijing, encouraging Victor to head out at some point. Li Fong also gets a pizza delivered for Daniel, where he's currently hanging with Johnny Lawrence. Johnny comes up with the idea of opening a pizza shop called Miyagi-Do, the best joke of the movie, mind, and riffs off some slogans too, eventually ending the movie.